I want you to imagine the brightest young person you know. Studious, ethical, hardworking. What is society's unanimous advice for him? Get a secure job. Be responsible. Don't risk your capital. Live prudently. That is the worst betrayal. It is the direct path to programmed mediocrity. John D. Rockefeller, the man who amassed the equivalent of 1.5% of the United States gross domestic product, understood that the path to wealth is not the path of social virtue or prudence. It is the path of ruthless logic and immutable certainty. Most people repeat the superficial narrative: Rockefeller became a billionaire because of oil. This is a distraction. Oil was just a vehicle. He became a billionaire through the acquisition and obsessive application of a mindset that very few dare to adopt, the mindset of total certainty. In this in-depth dissection, we're going to unearth the three invisible principles that Rockefeller applied to transform market uncertainty, chaos, and volatility into a precision machine of exponential growth. This isn't motivation, it's a roadmap to financial invulnerability. Before he became the titan who dominated the oil world, John D. Rockefeller was an ordinary man, a simple bookkeeper in Cleveland, Ohio. He earned a steady salary of about $50 a month. For its time, it was a secure and respectable income. But there was something about that paycheck that deeply troubled him. Every time he received it, he experienced a sharp anxiety. The anxiety didn't stem from the amount, which was sufficient, but from its source. That money, that security, was the result of an unacceptable dependency. Rockefeller coldly analyzed his situation: if the business owner decided to retire, if the market suddenly shifted, if a corporate one fired him, his financial life would collapse. His prosperity was tied to the will, judgment, and health of another person. His great epiphany, the true turning point, wasn't a moment of oil brilliance, but an act of categorical rejection. He rejected dependency. He rejected the subtle slavery of a fixed salary. In 1859, at just 19 years old, he took the radical step of abandoning that comfort and illusory security. His initial capital, his first formal loan, was $1,000, which he obtained from his own father. But here's the crucial detail: he didn't take it as a gift or charity. He documented it, requested it as a secured investment, and committed himself to repaying the loan with the highest interest rates of the time. By doing this, Rockefeller became, overnight, a man in debt, but free. He had imposed upon himself the necessity of creating his own system. His money would never again depend on the mood, the decisions, or the vulnerability of another person. His money had to be the result of an immutable system that he, and he alone, controlled. From this rejection of the dependent paycheck system arose the three principles we are about to dissect. Principle number 1: investing is not growth, it is protection against chaos. Most people conceive of investing as a game of chance to maximize profits. The goal is to multiply money as quickly as possible. Rockefeller operated with the opposite logic. He invested obsessively, seeking to minimize risk and ensure permanence. For Rockefeller, wealth was not the ability to accumulate more, but the ability to be absolutely indestructible. If an investment didn't protect your capital from volatility, unpredictability, and uncertainty, it simply wasn't worth your attention. While the crowds of his time were building a light, fast boat to navigate the volatile river of oil extraction, gambling on the luck of finding a profitable well, Rockefeller was building a bridge of steel and concrete. He wasn't interested in the luck of the draw. He was interested in absolute control of the infrastructure, the refineries, the railroads, and the pipelines. The boat, however fast, can sink in a storm. The bridge, regardless of the weather, is always there to collect the toll. Rockefeller was the first to apply vertical integration in a brutal way. While all the other rich men of his time were focused on drilling more wells, the most volatile business, he focused on logistics, refining, and transportation. His statement was memorable: "I'm not interested in finding the gold. I'm interested in charging everyone who needs to transport and process the gold." He monetized infrastructure and inevitability, not speculation or luck. Where are you building your ship, and where should you be building your bridge? If your income depends on market volatility, or your time, you have a ship. You must build infrastructure, automated systems, specialized knowledge that makes you irreplaceable, or assets that generate a steady cash flow, no matter what. If this idea of building bridges instead of ships is forcing you to reevaluate your financial strategy, subscribe and turn on notifications. This certainty mindset is just the beginning. There's much more ruthless logic we need to dismantle together. Principle number 2, the unseen purpose of strategic austerity. There's a myth that Rockefeller was a miser. It's an oversimplification of his genius. He wasn't austere out of personal stinginess, his austerity served a much deeper and more strategic purpose. It was his financial life insurance and his most powerful negotiating tool. Poor people spend to impress others or to quell the excitement of the moment. Rich people spend only to acquire assets or systems. Rockefeller took this to a radical extreme. He maintained a remarkably low personal standard of living, even after becoming a billionaire. The reason? Every dollar he didn't spend on luxuries or liabilities was a dollar he could immediately reinvest to buy out a competitor, invest in new refining technology, or drive down oil prices until his rivals went bankrupt. His personal austerity wasn't a moral sacrifice, it was the fuel for his corporate warfare. His frugality fueled his aggressiveness in the marketplace. The greatest power in any negotiation lies in the ability to say no and walk away from the table. If you approach an investment or a merger and have to close the deal out of necessity, because your lavish lifestyle is suffocating you, you lose all your power. Rockefeller could wait, could let a tempting opportunity pass, because his lifestyle was so low that he simply didn't need it. His lack of need was his greatest and most feared strength. Your current standard of living is the determining factor in your level of freedom. If you live below your means, even by 10%, you possess time, negotiating power, and the ability to absorb an economic blow. If you live paycheck to paycheck, you are a modern-day slave to your next deposit. The true luxury Rockefeller sought wasn't things, it was having time to think and capital to act without pressure. This counterintuitive mindset of using austerity as a weapon of financial warfare is difficult to implement. If you're willing to adopt this strategic austerity, leave a comment, like, and share. I want to know what superfluous expense you're going to cut today, using the 10% principle to turn your salary into your new war capital. Principle number 3, mercy on the system, not on the people. There's an image of Rockefeller as a cold and ruthless man. And in business, he was. However, in his personal and philanthropic life, he was a deeply religious man who ended up donating 90% of his immense fortune, creating foundations that changed medicine and education. His ruthlessness wasn't personal, it was systematic. He didn't seek to destroy his competitors for pleasure or revenge, but because he believed that inefficiency, corruption, and duplicity in competition were sins against industrial efficiency. His ultimate goal was to consolidate the chaos of the market into a single, perfect, and monolithic system, Standard Oil. Rockefeller saw the oil industry as a chaotic jungle where every producer drilled and transported without control, causing price volatility and shortages. He believed that true value was created by eliminating that chaos and establishing a monopoly that guaranteed quality, predictability, and a constant supply. He wasn't a tyrant, he was an architect of enforced predictability. Rockefeller applied an almost surgical separation of roles. He separated his role as a businessman, the system, from his role as a man of faith, the person. As a businessman, his duty was to maximize efficiency and eliminate competition. As a man of faith, his duty was to be generous. He never allowed his personal feelings or morality to interfere with the brutal logic of the system he was building. This allowed him to make cold, logical decisions without being paralyzed by guilt or emotional indecisiveness. You can't let emotion, panic, or the excitement of the moment dictate your financial decisions. You must design a system that operates on logic, not feelings. What system are you designing for your finances? Is it emotional, spending when you feel bad, investing when you're euphoric, or is it systematic, investing 10% each month, automating your savings, following a defined strategy, regardless of how you feel? Certainty is achieved by removing your own emotions from the process. This lesson of separating emotion from logic is vital for anyone who wants to build wealth. Share it with someone who needs to hear this truth, someone who is driven by panic or the excitement of the moment in their investments or daily life. Rockefeller left us with an uncomfortable truth: genuine wealth isn't a pursuit of quick profits or lucky breaks, it's methodical and obsessive protection against uncertainty. His legacy isn't the amount of money he amassed, but the invulnerable system he built. He understood that true financial freedom doesn't come from having more things, but from depending on fewer people, fewer emotions, and fewer external factors. If your financial life is full of ups and downs, it's because you're sailing a ship you don't control, one that depends on the tide of luck. If your financial life is full of certainty, it's because you've begun to build your bridges, brick by brick, with unwavering logic. The mindset of total certainty is the ultimate weapon. Choose your path. Be the architect of your own invulnerability.